It can be pretty easy to forget how good you have it when you're not living in a country that's ravaged by war or run by dictators, but every now and then a story will remind you of how good your life is, and I'm going to talk about that today. Today's video, I'm going to talk about a comedian and social media star in Afghanistan, Nazar Mohammad, who was unfortunately killed by the Taliban when they took over the country. You may have seen the incredibly viral clip of Nazar Mohammad in a car surrounded by Taliban who had kidnapped him from his house and were on their way to execute him. But despite this terrifying thing happening, he was sitting in the car, handcuffed, telling jokes about the Taliban, the very jokes that motivated them to come to his house and kill him. He continued to tell those jokes up to the moment they took him away to be killed. That's one of the most bravest things I've ever seen in my life. As a comedian myself, that's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I can't even comprehend how terrifying and brave and just crazy that whole scenario is. You know, sometimes people will go to me like, oh, I can't believe you tell jokes like that. People will get so angry at me. It's like, yeah, I'll tell a joke and maybe a few thousand people on Twitter will get angry. That's not brave. What Nazar Mohammad did is fucking brave. I mean, clearly this guy was just undeniably hilarious. Even the Taliban who were taking him away to kill him for the jokes that he had told were laughing at the jokes he was telling about them. Like, I couldn't imagine how funny you would have to have the ability to roast the guy who's about to kill you and have them laugh. Like, that is pretty good, man. I'm still gonna fucking kill you, but that is a good burn. That is good, you got me. The Daily Mail describes the video and says, the man to his left is seen laughing throughout before menacingly switching his gun for an even bigger looking firearm. At that point, I assume Nazar said, who the fuck are you, Bugs Bunny? Who does that? Like a gun is a gun. Like if you're pointing at me, I'm gonna die. Like changing the size or the caliber of the ammunition doesn't scare me more. That's some Cartoon Network shit, dude. Now, when I first heard about Nazar and I saw this video, I immediately wanted to consume all of his work. I wanted to find out everything that I could about him. I was just completely fascinated and impressed with this amazingly brave comedian. It is almost impossible to find the work that he had out there. So I've managed to scrape together as much information about him that I can find. If you know more about him, leave it in the comments below because there really isn't too much. But from what I can gather, Nazar was quite a well-known influencer on TikTok in Afghanistan, and he would routinely make funny videos to entertain his friends, and he would regularly make fun of the Taliban, which is what ultimately motivated them to come to his house. And I think that that is such a cool and amazing and wonderful thing to do in a country like Afghanistan that are under attack by organizations like this, to stand up and be brave and make fun of them when you know what the consequence of that could be. Now, I have managed to find some of the videos. It does look like his TikTok has been removed. Maybe it was taken down by them or by his family, or maybe I can't view it because I'm not from Afghanistan and I have an Australian account. I'm not sure. Despite most of the videos seemingly being deleted or missing, I have managed to find a few clips. Now, none of them have been translated, which is really frustrating. So I don't know what is being said in these videos, but I do have multiple clips of this guy telling jokes and the people around him laughing hysterically. So we know the guy was hilarious. I assume he's either speaking Pashto or Dari. There's a lot of languages that people speak in Afghanistan, but it's probably one of the two. So if you do find a translation, please leave it in the comments. I would love to know what the man's saying. But from what we can gather from a lot of Western outlets and also Afghan outlets as well that are in English, he would regularly make fun of the Taliban. He would often do funny dances, just regular like comedy on TikTok, like similar to what I do as a job. This man was risking his life to do all the time, despite the circumstances that he was living under. And that just is so impressive to me that that's why I've made this video, because I think the man should be remembered for his effort despite how he left the world. As someone who cares so much about freedom of speech and the ability to ridicule leaders and comedy in general, and I know what comedy can do for people who are struggling, a person like Nazar Mohammad is so incredibly important to a group of people that are living in a country that has been at war for decades. This guy was making people laugh about their surroundings. That's not something that I could do, even if I spoke the language. It's only something that you could do if you were in that scenario, if you understood it completely, and you were brave enough to take the risk to make fun of the people that are contributing to these things. I honestly don't know if I could do it. You know, if I was living under a dictatorship, I don't know if I could go out there and make fun of the people that I know would come for retribution if they ever got in. I don't know if anyone could do that, but this guy did, and he did it right up to the moment of his death. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, and it just makes me feel so grateful and lucky that I can do what I can do, and that we can all do what we can do, because there really are places today that are going through this, and it's happening to people right now. So I'm making this video because I think this guy needs to be remembered. I think that there needs to be some kind of effort to collect his work, to translate it for people to see, to put it out there so that his efforts and his death aren't meaningless, that they affected something. And we can see that it's really doing something, you know? Like, this clip was one of the first viral clips after the Taliban took over Afghanistan, when America left really abruptly. That went viral, that made people go, holy shit, these are like people. Like, you very rarely see news stories about the actual people involved in this conflict. It's always like from a higher tier of oh, America did this and Russia did that and the Taliban did this, but you never really hear mainstream media viral stories about just the regular people that are caught in the middle of all of this stuff, that maybe don't want anyone of these people running their country or telling them how to live or fighting with each other. And I think that this is a story about a person like that I think is really important to get out there. Now, here are some of the details I managed to scrape together from the very little information out there. Nazar Mohammad, he would play a character on his social media called Khasha Zwan. I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of that. I might as well just say it like an incredibly right-wing Republican Texan. Khasha Zwan. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I'm trying my best. We know that he lived in the Kandahar province, and he's left behind a wife and daughters as well. The Taliban initially denied their involvement in his killing, but obviously video of it was posted, and they've come out and said, okay, yes, we did do that, and apparently the people who did it are going to be standing trial in their court, whatever that's going to look like, as apparently Nazar Mohammad was supposed to be given the right to be held in court. They said that they would give everyone their time in court and they weren't going to go around killing people. I guess that has turned out to be false. And on top of being a comedian that would make fun of the Taliban, if Nazar couldn't paint more of a target on his back and display more bravery than he was, he also worked for the National Police Force, which the Taliban do not like at all. Like, I'm never going to complain about getting in trouble for a joke again. Like, this dude's making jokes while he's on the way to his execution. I'm fucking complaining on the 2 podcasts that I have that I get paid to do by people who watch them. I was like, oh, a few people didn't like my jokes about BTS on Twitter. That's bullshit. Shut up, dude, all right? If no one's pointing a rifle at your head, you don't get to complain. And another thing it gives me is just like an even stronger belief in freedom of speech and the right to make fun of the people in charge. If you cannot ridicule people who are in charge, if you can't poke fun at the people who are trying to run things, you don't have a free society. This is why I always speak up when I see things like what is happening with friendly Geordies, or when I see things that restrict the freedom of speech that I believe the entire world should have. I mean, even in the UK, comedians have gotten in trouble and being fined for causing offence with what is obviously humour. And I think that, you know, clearly those are incredibly minor things when you compare them to what happened to Nazar Mohammad, but they are the start of a path that leads there. And I think that we are so blessed and so lucky to have the ability to make fun of the people in charge. But that is something that we must always fight to keep, because once you lose it, that doesn't come back for 100 years. I don't think we're going to be seeing many more Nazar Mohammads for a very, very, very long time, because I don't know if anyone's brave enough. And to be honest, I can't fault people for being too scared to do what Nazar did. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if you could do it, but he did. And I think that's why he should be celebrated for what he's done. And I think that some kind of effort should be made by people to collect his works, to translate it, to put it out there. That's why I'm making this video, because I thought I could do that, and I couldn't, because there's just not enough out there. I don't speak the language. I don't feel like I have the resources to do so. So I'm trying my best, and this is what I've managed to collect about this man's work and about his life. I hope that it's enough. I know that it's not, but I hope it's something. So after saying all of that and coming up with everything that I could find on this incredibly brave comedian that the world has lost, I'm feeling a little bit like, oh, well, what do we do now? How do we actually, remember this guy and celebrate the work that he's done and encourage bravery like that in the future? And I found this clip from a comedian from England called Andrew Doyle that I really, really liked, and that's how I'm going to end this video. And it's just about celebrating the guy's work, what little we can find of it, and promoting the ideas that he died for. I think that's a really special thing. It's something that I really care about. And that's how I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't that funny, but I think that it's important.
Yeah. How do we celebrate? How do we remember somebody like that? He's, in the West, he'd been arguably held up for awards and all the rest of it, but not there.
It's very unfortunate, isn't it, that these are the images that people are seeing and they're not seeing his work. And of course it's difficult for us because his work will be in his own language. It won't be, we won't be able to...
We don't know how funny he is.
We don't, well, there's that, but how do we celebrate? Well, we talk about him and we deride and continue to deride his captors and his killers. And that's what we do. And I think one of the most powerful things that we can do is to mock tyrants such as the Taliban. But wherever we see tyranny, I think of what Hannah Arendt said, which is the greatest enemy of authority is contempt, and the surest way to undermine it is laughter. And I think we should always remember that.